Good morning, and welcome to the First Parish Church of Stowe and Acton, a welcoming and spiritual community. My name is Susan Avery, and I serve on the worship committee at FPC. For those visiting FPC for the first time, we welcome you. Please let us know you were here by filling out one of our visitor information cards in the pews and hand it to an usher, drop it in the plate, or hand it to Meg, our welcoming staff member who might be in the back somewhere. I know she's here. Our minister, staff, and board are listed on the front of our order of service. Please feel free to ask me or any of these people for more information. If you would like a large print order of service or hymnal or an assisted listening device, please ask one of our ushers. Our assisted listening devices are small radios, which anyone is welcome to use one of these to listen to the service from another space in or around our building. I think we could improve that grammar there. After the service, please join us for coffee and conversation in our fellowship hall, which is one level down at the other end of our building, or in a breakout room if you're joining us online. I'd like to draw your attention to the announcements in our order of service, which in particular, our new Revival Coffee House in 2 weeks, and I forget the name, but the art exhibit, the upscaled art exhibit that we're, upcycled art. Anyway, check out your order of service. You can also check out our webpage for more information. And when you're there, you can sign up for one of our newsletters and email alerts. Our guest minister today is the Reverend Elizabeth Elka Carrier-Ladd, a fourth-generation Unitarian Universalist who has served our faith in countless ways. They have degrees from Hampshire College and Meadville Lombard Theological School and live in Revere with their spouse, 4 young kiddos, and 2 dogs. That is a full house. And now let us come together for a time of community, singing, and worship.
Like every other day, today it is apparent that only love will save us. Not in the grandiose, abstract way, but in the alarming, specific way, as in forgiveness now, as in choosing to hug instead of fighting back, as in taking 3 deep breaths before saying something we regret. It saves us from thirsting in the desert of our lives, but only if we save it first, by choosing it, now, in this moment of angry words, now in this moment of clenched thoughts, now in this moment when we'd rather taste venom, but instead we pour love into our cup and bring it to our lips and drink until once again, it is only love that makes sense, only love that refills the cup. May these words by Rosemary, Wahtola, Trommer shape this sacred space we create here together this morning. Come, let us worship together.
As Elka lights our chalice, we will hear the words from Rebecca Ann Parker. Even when our hearts are broken by our own failure or the failure of others, cutting into our lives, even when we have done all we can and life is still broken, There is a universal love that has never broken faith with us and never will. Please join us in our first hymn, number 18, What Wondrous Love. Please join us in our covenant affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. As you settle into your seat, I invite you to feel grounded to the earth. We would like to acknowledge that this service is being held by a community that gathers on the stolen traditional lands of the Massachusetts, Nipmuc, Pawtucket, and Wampanoag people. We pay respect to these indigenous peoples who have lost their lives in this colonization of this land, and recognize that these indigenous tribes are still today facing violations of sovereignty, territory, and water. We give thanks for the earth we walk upon, the waters, the life-giving plants, and all of Earth's creatures, as well as the winds, sun, moon, and stars. We recognize this is just the first step in moving forward towards right relationship with Native peoples and healing of the earth.
I'd love to invite forward anyone who would like a better view of the time for all ages, or who would like to be closer to me or cozier with the pillows during the story. And if you want to stay where you are, that's also beautiful. No pressure. I have a story to share that's by Paulo Coelho, who is a Brazilian author. Hello. Welcome. Once, perhaps once upon a time, there was a young man standing in the middle of a town proclaiming that he had the most beautiful heart in the entire world. A large crowd gathered and they all admired his heart, for it was perfect. Can you imagine a perfect looking heart that had never been blemished in any way, just completely untouched? There was not a mark or a flaw on it. But an old man appeared in the circle in front of the crowd and said, "Your heart is not as beautiful as mine." Those are fighting words, eh? The crowd and the young man looked at the old man's heart. It was beating strongly, but it was full of scars. It had places where pieces had been removed and other pieces had been put in, but they didn't fit quite right, and there were several jagged edges. The young man looked at the old man's heart and laughed. That wasn't a very nice response, was it? "You must be joking," he said. "Compare your heart with mine. Mine is perfect, and yours is a mess of scars." "Yes," the old man said, "yours is perfect looking, but I would never trade with you. You see, every scar represents a person to whom I have given my love. I tear out a piece of my heart and I give it to them. And often they give me a piece of their heart and I put it into the empty space. But because the pieces aren't exact, there are some rough edges. And sometimes I have given pieces of my heart away and the other person hasn't returned a piece of their heart to me. These are the empty gouges. Giving love is taking a chance. Although those gouges are painful, they stay open, reminding me of the love I have for these people too. And I hope someday they may return and fill the space I have waiting. So now do you see what true beauty is?" he asked. The young man stood silently with tears running down his cheeks. He walked up to the old man, reached into his perfect, young, beautiful heart, and ripped a piece out of it. He offered it to the old man. The old man took his offering, placed it in his heart, and then took a piece of his old scarred heart and placed it in the wound in the young man's heart. It fit. Did it fit perfectly, you think? No. It didn't fit perfectly, and there were some jagged edges, and it was a little messy. The young man looked at his heart, no longer perfect, thank goodness, but more beautiful than ever, since love from the old man's heart now flowed into his. That is our story, and we will begin our parade with our lantern.
Now's the time in our service where we pause to mention the things in our lives which bring us joy or sadness. I'm Hector. I'm one of the lay ministers, and we'll read the ones that we received through email. Just so you know, the lay ministers are here to help the minister address your pastoral care needs. You can find more about us by looking us up on our website. Well, if you go to the church's website and look under the pastoral care section, or you can, if you have anything to ask, you can send an email to caring@fpc-stowe-acton.org. I'll first read the ones that we received from email, then you'll have a chance in the sanctuary to express your joy or sorrow. One of the ushers will bring you a microphone. You see how close I'm holding the microphone to my mouth and talking to the top of it. Please make sure you do the same. It sounds very loud. You're not used to hearing yourself talk, but we can't hear you if you don't do this. Then we'll light 2 final candles, one for all of those who are afflicted by war and conflict, and then one final candle for the joys and sorrows that remain in our hearts, but unspoken.
Would you join me in the spirit of prayer, reflection, meditation, intention, as is your practice? Maybe take a big, deep breath together to settle a little bit more into your body as we begin. Gracious love that never lets us go, may we feel wrapped up in you. May we be reminded here that we are worthy and precious and wonderful. There is nothing more we need to do to earn love. No matter how broken or jagged our hearts may feel, no matter how many times we have given bits of it to people who prove themselves unable to love us the way we deserve, no matter how much loss we have been shattered by. May we rest in love, abiding, deep, always there. When we are so full of joy and celebration that it overflows to all of those around us, when we find deep connections with someone we may have sat beside at church for years, when we find our beloveds succeeding at something that was hard. May that love overflow and lift us all up with the pure wonder and awe of it all. And when we are so desperate and lost, when our loved ones struggle or are sick, that we cry out to the heavens for any help at all, sinking into our own anguish. Remind us, love, in abstract and in alarming, specific ways, human-made ways, that we are loved, that we are never alone, that we are love incarnated, and that our purpose here is to make more love manifest in this broken world, to love and be loved, until no one feels alone, until no one is hungry, until peace reigns, until all beings know that they are worthy and precious and wonderful, just as they are. And we all act as if that were true. May all that is sacred hear these spoken prayers, and those lifted up now in a time of silence. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.
Our next hymn is hymn number 1013. I invite you to rise in body or spirit. It's a round, and so I thought we might learn it first to give us a good chance of succeeding in the round part of it. So it's better to stand if you can. Stretch your feet. And Trevor is going to play the first phrase, the first 4 bars once. And they say, with the words, it sounds like this. Open my heart to all that I seek. Let's sing that together. Open my heart to all that I seek. Now listen to the second part. It sounds like this. Let me be part of the love you give. One more time. Let me be part of the love you. Now let's sing the whole thing. Open my heart to all that I seek. Let me be part of the love you give. All right, so we'll start that in a bit. And let's just do the round in 2 parts this morning. So we'll start with this side of the church. If you self-identify by raising your hand, so I know you know who you are. And then this other side of the church, okay, so we all, and if you're in the balcony, you get to pick. And yeah, let's start. We'll sing it through together twice, and then we'll break into the round.
Our reading this morning comes from Jess Reynolds, a Unitarian Universalist in Sacramento, California. It is called Witness. You were tender when I was nothing but raw edges, threads spilling out where I met the world. You were the hands tramping down the soil when I felt as rootless as a blown away dandelion puff, minus the wish. You heard that wish, cast into the void with reckless abandon. I wish somebody saw me. I wish I weren't alone. I wish. You held me in the arms of the whole universe, and that whole universe was right there where you held me. You could not stuff back the clothes spilling from my overstuffed suitcase heart, could not turn the sky right side up again. But you still saw me, and you kept me, and this made everything true.
This month, we share our weekly offering with the UU Urban Ministry. The UU Urban Ministry is a non-sectarian, nonprofit social justice organization based in Roxbury. It was founded in 1826 by the Reverend Joseph Tuckerman and was the first social services agency in this country. It continues its work providing housing, education, and artistic opportunities to the underserved. One of its programs is Renewal House, a shelter for victims of domestic violence, which we support with our holiday gift drive. Your generous support is gratefully received.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
I didn't know yet that my parents' marriage had already mostly fallen apart when I started attending young religious Unitarian Universalist conferences as a teenager. I didn't understand yet that they hadn't really shown me a very good model of what romantic love is. But I did know that I longed for someone to see me. I wished so desperately, like the poet of our reading, I wish I was not alone. I wish someone understood. I wish someone would hold me in such a way that I feel the whole universe holding me. I didn't understand why that hole felt so huge, but I knew I felt it. And so it mattered so much when I was held by community in the way I wished to be held. Those events, those YRUU events, were not perfect, but they showed me a love that was beyond my imagining. They both literally and figuratively held me. And most importantly, I learned from witnessing and working alongside incredible leaders from across the country how to love in the most alarming and specific ways. Here's one. We regularly engaged in a ritual called a love feast. For this, we would put out a bunch of tasty food within the container of worship. It was simple. Feed each other. Not yourself, just each other, with consent. It was a crash course in how we show one another love with consent and care, and sometimes we were encouraged to avoid speaking and to communicate our consent non-verbally. And most importantly, it felt nourishing in ways I could hardly begin to describe. There is something so tender about feeding someone, right? And the conversation of consent was such a beautiful moment each time, even or perhaps especially when it was silent. Here's another. We had a practice we called deep and soulfuls. This was informal, by which I mean there were no rules about this from leadership, but we also treated it as sacred, because it truly was. When there was conflict or misunderstanding amongst folks in my YRUU circles, whoever felt like a deep, real, hard conversation was necessary could call for a deep and soulful. This meant we need to talk. We need to listen. We need to understand each other and come back to loving each other well. This was my first real crash course in the practice of covenant, the mending of rifts between people who are struggling to see each other's full beauty and humanity. I had plenty of these moments myself. They always helped me feel closer and more connected and loved by the folks I engaged with, despite the sometimes incredibly hard truths and accountability that was part of them. But what felt most profound, and what is most relevant for my message today, was that it was an accepted practice in my community that of course, the way to love one another was to tell our whole messy truths to each other, to engage in conflict, not hide from it, to call each other in and listen deeply, to make a way forward together. These lessons and others I learned there changed me, because we learn how to love in practice, not in theory. We learn how to love by the way we are loved. And so many of us have parents who try and who truly believe that they love us, but are messy or broken or misguided in some way that leaves us wanting. So many of us grow up with parents who do not know how to love each other well, even if they love us well. So we don't have a good example of what it might look like. And we all grow up in this world that doesn't model love well in our cultural landscape at all. Our popular dating shows, of which there are so many, are full of toxicity and jealousy and rage, and lying and cheating remains commonplace, and that is before we talk about the heteronormativity and compulsory monogamy which is not to say that monogamy is a problem, but compulsory monogamy is. I will have a whole conversation with you about that if you want. See again all of the lying and the cheating, right? This world where romantic love is all that seems to matter to us, despite how vital all love truly is, where we lift up our romantic partner as the one who should complete us, many of us do not learn how to love well in our early years, and we have to figure it out as we go. But we know that we do not learn how to love in theory or in our heads. We learn from what we have been shown. Who first showed you the kind of love that we heard about in our reading? That wondrous love we sang about in our opening hymn? Who first held you in a way that felt like the whole universe was holding you too? Can you remember what that felt like in your body? In the Broadway musical Waitress by Sarah Bareilles, we witness a young pregnant woman married to a man who she sings can't love, and who we see to be at least emotionally abusive, have an affair with another married person, and learn what love should feel like. Her mother was abused by her father, so it's unsurprising that she would end up in a similar kind of marriage. That was what she knew of love, what she had been taught about it, what love was supposed to look like and feel like, even if she knew otherwise in her brain or in her body. She was destined to replicate it by her epigenetics, by the way her environment impacts who she was. But once she has found this other man, who, granted, isn't perfect at all, but who shows her she matters to him, who treats her vastly differently than her husband does, she writes a little love note to the baby she's carrying that goes like this. Dear baby, I hope someday somebody wants to hold you for 20 minutes straight. They don't pull away, they don't look at your face, and they don't try to kiss you. All they do is wrap you up in their arms and hold on tight without an inch of selfishness to it. I hope you become addicted, baby. I hope you become addicted to saying things and having them matter to someone. I hope you are addicted. I hope someone has held you for 20 minutes straight without an inch of selfishness to it, and you learned just how precious you are. I hope that learning has helped you to find folks who show you how you deeply matter to them. Because here's the most beautiful thing about showing one another how to love. We always have the power to learn better and to show one another better. This is not a light bulb moment like one could interpret both of the stories I've told you already being one light bulb moment, right? Really, we relearn how to love over and over and over again in little moments, countless light bulb moments. We keep learning better ways to love, and in turn, we keep showing others better ways to love us in a cycle that could change everything. It could save so many lives. Each time I have been loved well, I have learned more about how to love myself and how I deserve to be treated. And while I'm a big advocate of direct communication in all things, the most powerful way sometimes to change a relationship is to show that person how you want to be loved by loving them that way. Here's an example. I've been with my person for 14 years. Somewhere along the way, probably in the messiness and stress of parenting 4 very young ones in a global pandemic, we stopped kissing and/or hugging each other hello and goodbye. This was a ground rule in our early marriage. We must always greet each other with love and show our affection when we part, no matter how busy we are or how eager we are to get to the next thing. Now, for a while after I noticed this and was displeased about it, I just complained a lot. How much do you think that helped the situation? In fact, it made it worse. It made him feel blamed and shamed for something that was not all on him. You know what did help? Making sure myself to hug and kiss my beloved hello and goodbye, to take extra care with it whenever I could, to linger a little in his arms, heart against heart, because he quickly was reminded how precious it was. Much better than when I complained or shared my resentment that he wasn't doing it, when neither was I. By doing it myself, I was much better able to shift this dynamic for us, and it has made us more connected and affectionate at other times too. When I shared my resentment, he felt blamed and less excited to be open and vulnerable with me. When I showed him once again how I want to be loved, he responded with, "Of course, yes." And this story also reminds us, right, that we cannot control each other in love. Boundaries are not what someone else cannot do. They are what we will or will not do based on how other people act. They are not about us and are grounded, they are about us and are grounded in our inability to control others. We can speak clearly about what our boundaries are. We can ask for what we need, and we should, of course. But the most effective way I have found to change a dynamic is to be brave and do it yourself. To put your resentment and blame aside, to show someone what we need, to hold the person we wish would hold us, to be the model for someone who might then rise to the occasion of reciprocating. And at least then, if they do not, you have done all you could. You've shown that they have shown that they cannot love themselves enough to love the way that you need, and you can move to a different place knowing that you've done your part. Now, I should be clear here that I'm not advocating for this kind of approach in the situations of abuse. There are, of course, times when the best way to love someone or ourselves is to remove them from our lives. Just because we believe that no one is outside the circle of God's love or the universe's love doesn't mean that everyone gets access to us. What I am saying is, we only show people how to love us as well as we love ourselves and as well as we have received love. And as we love ourselves more fully and as we receive more love, no matter how ingrained old patterns might be, it is possible to show someone how to love you differently. Over the course of my lifetime, I have learned a lot about what I need from a partner and how to articulate that. And a lot of that has come from the powerful and important loving relationships that I've had with family and chosen family over that time, who have shown me alarming and specific love. So how I want to be loved has changed, and that's beautiful, right? We want our beloveds to learn and grow and get better at asking for what they need, and we want our beloveds to need us differently as they do. Love, whether it's romantic or platonic, whether for someone we choose or someone we happen to be in community with that maybe we wouldn't have chosen, is something we all continue to learn how to do better if we pay attention to those around us who are there to show us that love is the only thing that will save us, that swallowing the venom before it comes to our lips matters, that consent can be given and retracted silently and powerfully, and that nourishing someone must be consensual, that deep and soulful listening and sharing is the only way forward when we don't understand each other, that boundaries are not about what anyone else can or cannot do, but about what we will do if we are not treated the way we deserve, that forgiveness now is always possible, because you have the biggest hearts. And I know you want to be open to the love that will never let you go. I know you want to receive it. I know you want to open your heart to all of the suffering in the world. I know you want to learn to love better and more fully because this world needs more love made manifest here on this earth. And I know this is a risk over and over again, the kind of loving that I'm asking us to show each other, because we might learn that someone is not up to the task. Not everyone will return a piece of their heart when you break off a chunk for them, even when you go way out on a limb. But even then, you have still put more love out into this world, and that is worth something. This world where babies are starving and two-spirit teenagers are being killed in bathrooms. And politicians don't listen, and we're all talking loudly over each other, and we punish more than we love those who need it the most. This world where consent still seems a struggle for a lot of folks, and talking deeply about what we need to move forward in the midst of conflict still sounds radical. Please just show someone love. Put more love out into this world, because it will make a difference. Your love matters, and I love you. I don't know you, but I love you, because that's what my faith calls me to do. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Our final hymn today is number 1012, When I Am Frightened. It's in the teal hymnal. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Strong for me, seek to be quiet.
And now, may the love that will not let you go wrap around you and hold you wherever you go, so that you know deep in your bones, no matter what, how worthy and precious you are. You are a blessing. You are a blessing. Go now and bless this beautiful and broken world.